Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dalili Faimah binti Zaid. My group is number 1200690. I am from group KMB1, tutorial group TMB1. Today I will present about my individual assignment that titles Current Macroeconomics Issue. The topic that I choose is the impact of COVID-19 on China's economic growth. The first one, introduction. Let me tell you about the COVID-19 status in China. But before that, let's see what is coronavirus COVID-19. Pandemic coronavirus COVID-19 is an infection disease that very well known in the world. It was initially reported to the World Health Organization on December 31, 2019. Up until now, no one can see the end of the pandemic. The outbreaks of COVID-19 not just threatens humans' life, but also has a huge impact on economies of a country. Let's take a deeper look in China COVID-19 status. I think everyone knows that the first known infections from COVID-19 virus were discovered in Wuhan, China, and it is confirmed on December 8, 2019. The COVID-19 diseases that broke out in Wuhan has continued to spread for 2 months, and as we can see, China has managed to control the COVID-19 virus at the present time and has shown drastic change from year 2020 until now. Let's look in active cases statistic in China from year 2020 to present. Based on the graph, China succeeds in controlling COVID-19 virus from spread even further. Since the starting of the outbreak, the government has strengthened their prevention and control measures, where total lockdown has been implemented at Wuhan. After the implementation, the increase of newly cases have slowed down and it shows a positive signal for the country. Next, as I choose the issue about economic growth in China, let's see what is the status of economic growth in China. But before that, we need to understand what is economic growth. Economic growth can be defined as the increase in the market value of the goods and services produced by an economy over time. When we talk about economic growth, the main indicator in determining a country's economic growth is using the real gross domestic product, GDP. So, to determine the economic growth, let's see the annual GDP in China. Based on the table, we can see that annual GDP in China from year 2012 until 2019 is approximately equal, but we can see a drastic change from year 2019 to 2020, which is from 6.1% to 2.3%. This is because of the outbreak of COVID-19 that happened in year 2020. Overall, China economic growth has been hit hard by the outbreak of pandemic COVID-19. Since the outbreak, things have become very different in terms of growth environment, industrial structure, business and government policy. COVID-19 outbreak has impacted economic growth that can be concentrated on 3 components of GDP, which is consumption, investment, also import and export. Here I showed to you the contributions to GDP growth by expenditure components in China. As we can see, the contributions to GDP growth in China in year 2020 dropped drastically. Let me explain to you about the 3 components in GDP, which is consumption, investment, also import and export. The first one, consumption. Many industries were impacted with the outbreak of the pandemic, and it forced some industries to shut down for a while, such as catering, hospitality, tourism, entertainment, and transportation. When such services were closed, the consumption will automatically decrease steeply. Moreover, The shutdown of these industries will lead to reduction in purchasing power. The second one, investment. Due to the outbreak, many businesses have been forced to shut down, and it includes the cancellation of all production activities. At the same time, investments are bound to shrink accordingly. The third one, import and export. After the World Health Organization announced of international concern, many or almost all of the countries have taken a preventive measure, which is closing all borders and suspend all activities which involves the movements to another country. The activities include suspension of flights, entry restriction, also the import and export activities. As I said before, China has showed the good economic recovery from the impact of COVID-19. But how China's economy recover from the impact of COVID-19? China has been hit hard since the first day of COVID-19 outbreak, but China did not stumble in the depth of economic despair for too long. In fact, after a few months since the initial outbreak in Wuhan, China was taking rapid steps toward recovery. Based on the graph, the GDP in 2021 showed a very good increment than year 2020, which is 8.02% from 2.34%. It is a big difference. Considering the big difference from year 2020 to 2021, China showed a good economic recovery even though the estimation before is higher than real. Li Doi-Ku, an economics professor at Tsinghua University, said, "Overall, I would say the Chinese economy is not 100% back to normalcy. I would say 90% back to normalcy," he told Martin Sung during the virtual CNBC Evolve Global Summit on Wednesday. Now, China is showing the signs of increment in debt because of COVID-19. Li, a former advisor to China's central bank, said policymakers should allow the economy more time to recover before cracking down on debt. We need to know that now, consumer spending has not become normal yet, as they are still traumatized by the outbreak of COVID-19. In conclusion, China showed a good increment of GDP from year 2019 to 2020, and it showed the good economic growth, and it is recovered from the impact of COVID-19. But we need to remember, it is not 100% recovered, but only 90% recovered. China should always stay alert with the policy to curb the spread of COVID-19. Moreover, we need to remember that the recovery of the economies will take time, so we should not force it to be recovered. That's all from me. I hope that my presentation is clear, and all of you that hear my presentation can take some input from my presentation. Thank you so much for all who are listening.